So we're here today to talk about how we are viewing the corporate insurance space in India. And at the risk of starting off on the wrong foot, if I could just ask two questions to everybody over here, right? How many of you have heard of Policy Bazaar as an overall brand, retail plus corporate in India today? If you can just raise your hands, please. Thank you very much. And how many of you have heard of Policy Bazaar as a corporate insurance brand in India today? Fantastic. So I've hit myself in my foot, but I'm hoping that the next time we speak next year, we will have a lot more hands up when it comes to that question. What we want to walk you through today is just kind of talk to you about why we entered the market and what do we view as the fundamental problem statement that we are trying to solve for. So, and how do I kind of, yeah, perfect. So if we look at the employee benefit space in India, and we took about 4 years, right? So we limited ourselves to 30 companies in the, let's say, 200 employees to 2,000 employees range, and ran our business, built our technology, built our operational base, trying to understand what are the key problem statements that exist in the market today. And we came up with this, right? So if you look at it from an employee, employer, and insurer standpoint, from an employee perspective, the opportunities to access your insurance, your IPD insurance, your OPD requirements, as well as lifestyle requirements around fitness and mental health are all scattered. So I would go to 1MG for one thing, Practo for another thing, CureFit for a third thing, Visit Health for a fourth thing, MediBuddy for a fifth thing. And this is one of the problems that we saw, right? If we look at it from the perspective of the employer, access to health analytics is something that we saw was missing because the entire value chain was working on a manual Excel-based model. We were not able to make out actually, unless the broker comes to us every month or every 2 months and gives us a review of where are our claims arising from. We have no idea why is it that our premium goes up year on year, or what are the key health and wellness deficiencies in my org structure today. So because we are doing things in a slightly more manual manner, and we were doing it ourselves in a slightly more manual manner, we realized to be able to make any value additive changes in the years to come, we had to really go through a lot of manual data. Sometimes a lot of us don't have time for that. So that is another problem statement that we saw. Same thing, lack of employee wellness programs, right? So when I say lack of employee wellness programs, what do I mean? Today, I think every mid to large corporate that we go to has some kind of a wellness or an employee benefit scheme ongoing. But if we actually get into what the utilization ratios of those are, of the employee assistance programs are, they're typically anywhere between 2.5% to 10% of the employee base. What we need to realize is that our employees today are like us, right? Or like me, or like you. We use Uber to take a taxi from point A to point B. We don't dial a 1-800 number to call Meru to take the same taxi. We use Zomato to order our food. We don't go on Google, search for a restaurant, call the restaurant up, ask for food, and then wait for the delivery to take place at some odd hour. We're using 1MG in the market today. We don't just call a pharmaceutical company up through Just Dial and then access lab tests or access medicines, or call our neighborhood vendor up. Why is it that we are not able to provide the same experience to our employees? Or in fact, let me rephrase it. Why would the employee assistance program utilization ratios be stuck at sub 10% if the way in which we were offering it to our employees was effective? Right? So we thought this is a problem statement that we can help to solve for. And if we look at it from the insurer's perspective, and I don't know whether everybody is up to date with the news that came out today about massive losses in the employee benefit space. And I mean, the news was about PSUs, but the same exists for the private sector as well. We're talking about policies that run between 120 to 165% loss ratio, and hence become unsustainable both for a company as well as an insurance company over a point of time. And secondly, the insurer has no idea about the health outcomes. So you may be spending money on wellness, but you're not able to derive any benefits from that when it comes to your insurance premium. So we're trying to link the two. We'll come to that in our solution segment. And the third fact is that the insurer has no engagement with your employees. The experience gets messed up, And then the insurer is left to blame. So the insurer is left to blame, the broker is also blamed, but the insurers don't want their brand value to be, to be compromised in that manner. If we look at, and we'll talk about some of the solutions that we've put into place, but if I kind of talk about some of the problem statements and how we have gone about solving it. So if I start with the employee segment, we are currently integrated with 2 early wage access companies. We are integrated with 2 solutions with NBFCs and credit cards, where a reimbursement claim can be converted into a cashless claim, right? Where essentially, if you think of banking, right? Earlier you needed to wait 14 days for an approval to come in, and then you got your loan. Today you get in-principle approvals from banks like IDFC, and you're able to kind of know that, okay, now the processing may take 4 more days, but hey, I'm getting that loan for my car or for my house. Similarly, over here, we have worked with TPAs like MediAssist, we have worked with healthcare partners, we've worked with banks like Axis Bank, and we've worked with NBFCs like Capital Float to develop solutions wherein we vet your employees on day 0 when the enrollment takes place, and at a later stage when they need to go to the hospital, and let's say it ends up being a non-network hospital, it's one call, one triage session, and we are able to tell the employee very clearly, sir, ma'am, this is what your cost of your treatment will be. Would you like to take this particular facility? You will have a 30-day credit period, and since our reimbursement claims are usually settled in 10 to 14 days, you will have no out-of-pocket expense. So these are the kind of solutions that we're trying to create on the employee side to be able to solve the fundamental problem of an easy checkout from a hospital when we or our family members need to go there. From the employer side, what we have tried to solve for is, and I liked what Senthil sir said in the session before, that technology is just an enabler. And we kind of live that dream, right? I mean, if you look at the run-up video, we have 12,500 employees. So if we did not believe in manpower, if we did not believe in the importance of a human touch when it comes to concepts of mental health, when it comes to concept of insurance, we would probably not have so many employees. But we do. We believe human touch along with process automation, both are important. Simple things like integrations, what they end up doing is they allow us to track the funnel. They allow us to track where the problem is at any given point in time. So hypothetically speaking, or let's say with Axis Bank, for example, what we have is we are integrated into their HRMS platform. What that allows me to do is when an endorsement takes place across the 10 plus entities and 16 plus regions and 3,000 plus branches, it's not coming in 10 Excel files from 10 different regions to one central office, being compiled, then sent to me, my team checks it and then sends it to the insurer. How it works in our case is, as soon as an employee joins your company and you enter their details in SAP, Oracle, Darwinbox, whatever, the data flows to us. We still check the entire data, so we still have the human element. We're not automating anything and sending it directly. We still check the entire data, but what ends up happening is the maker becomes the checker. Your team saves time. So my team becomes the checker, your system becomes the maker. The data comes back to you. You become double check, comes back to us, and then through integration goes to the insurer with the calculations and the CD balance. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit technical. CD balance, your claim statuses, etc., all evaluated in that decision-making framework. Similarly, if your employee suffers from a case of a badly managed claim, which can happen with anybody. I mean, the insurance sector does have a lot to improve. Brokers do have a lot more to work towards, Insurtech or not Insurtech. At any point in time, as long as your employee has the option of logging in a claim using our app, using our WhatsApp bot, using the email ID provided, using the WhatsApp number provided, using the integrations provided through your HR portal, we know where the claim is stuck. When you call us up, we are very well aware about what needs to be done to solve the problem at the very ground level. And from a management level, we are able to track whether or not the ground level is being run in the right manner. And when it comes to the insurance companies, it's about reducing manpower cost for them and helping them to reduce their loss ratios. With API integrations, it reduces the amount of manpower that is required to handle each transactions. With integration of wellness into GMC policies, which we do so we have 3,500 companies for whom we handle only purely the employee benefit requirements. We have bundled wellness programs into 3,200 out of 3,500, and 1,500 of those 3,200 are actively using those wellness programs. Our typical monthly active users land up at about 20%. So when we work with an Axis, a Crompton, a Byju's, a Delivery, a Swiggy, a Navi FinTech, and many other such companies, we go in with a holistic value proposition. We're going in saying that, look, it's not just IPD, it's not just insurance you're trying to solve for. At the end of the day, we have spent 14 years in Policy Bazaar trying to solve for consumer experience when it comes to retail insurance. We have failed in some places, but we also believe we have succeeded in certain places. We're trying to enable certain breaks in the value chain or in the process chain for the corporate side as well. So what we believe is your employee today is looking for a unified app experience, right? They don't want to open 4 different apps, one for their HR requirements, one for their insurance requirement, one for their wellness, one for their mental health, one because somebody got a free deal from Practo. So you don't want that. You want one platform where everything is available. So when we come in, we say, look, you got a platform, it handles your claims, it handles your e-cards, it handles your, your reimbursements being converted into cashless, doctor consults, specialist consults, and a bunch of other factors which are mentioned on the screen there, right? So building out that ecosystem, keeping in mind the problem statements, understanding that data and technology from a large corporate perspective may play a role to 20-30% of the problem statement. But over a period of time, if you're able to solve for the mid to large corporates, you can extend the same technology down to the MSMEs. Because that is one of our focus areas. It's not just the large companies in the world. They teach us a lot and we're able to provide certain value-added services to them. But our eventual goal is if we're able to digitize and use data in a seamless manner, I can provide the same experience to a 50-employee company that today a Policy Bazaar or a Marsh or a Prudent can provide to, let's say, a 20,000 employee company at the same cost per employee. So we've done these, small interventions, and we actually really started speeding up our business around 2020 December, which was at the heights or the midst of the pandemic. The entire world was on work from home. Employees needed to be communicated to more effectively. And we decided that, look, you can't have a company like a Delivery, which has people in almost every pin code in the country, or you can't have a company like a Crompton and Greaves, which has different factories in different states, trying to run an enrollment program through emails and through Google Documents. There has to be a better way. So we built the technology, but we also enabled it with various manpower initiatives on the back end. So for example, what we do for our corporates, some of our larger corporates, is we run in 6 different languages. We run policy induction sessions out of a call center at our end. So your employee is told exactly what the policy holds, asked to enroll. The follow-up mechanism is from our end. The WhatsApp communication is from our end. The email communication is from our end. So our job is to come in and say, hey, there are certain HR, certain organizations where the HRs are already enabled with all these tools, with all these abilities. But there are also these companies where, the HR team may not have access to an entire marketing division to help them with really effective communications to their employees. Can we build out a system that allows them to do it at a speed of their liking, right? Can we build out an enrollment portal that truly allows a company to dream of doing something highly flexible without worrying about how cumbersome it will become? And we've launched policies with, 68 different, permutations and combinations, with a wallet-based system, with half employee paid, half corporate paid. So ideally what we try and do is we use our technology to enable our team to talk to you about the things that you can do for your employees without adding too much extra mess, effort, cumbersome activity at the corporate's end. Some examples I'll give you, right? So we walked up to certain clients and showed them our app, and they said, look, this looks phenomenal. People in head office and corporate head office will love it. But hey, I have 40,000 riders across the country. Or, I have factory workers in Gujarat and Baddi. Or, I have people going out in the market selling educational programs in 12 different states in India. This English speaking app is great for certain people in my organization. Can you help me with something better? what we discovered is to change an app into multilingual takes a lot of time and money, and we'll get there as well. But there's also an entire segment of our society that is not very, they may be internet savvy, but they're not app savvy. They're more comfortable with WhatsApp than anything else. So why can't we give them the best way to manage their claims, the best way to manage their medical benefits, the best way to manage their OPD policy on WhatsApp, the best way to reach out to us as a broker on WhatsApp, and convert it into Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Tamil, Bengali, Punjabi. We've done 4 out of these 7, 8 I've mentioned, and 3, 4 we are doing in the next quarter. So building out workflows based on what your employees demand, right? We're fundamentally a technology company, but driven by a love for process automation. And that is what we're trying to bring to the table when it comes to our foray into corporate insurance. One of the points that I wanted to kind of highlight over here is that we can't do everything alone, right? And as we mentioned, it's not just technology, you also need deep networks. I could launch an OBD policy for you, but hey, if I have only 2 hospitals and 30 doctors, it's not going to work. So we invested heavily in a wellness entity which already worked with some of India's largest, from an IBM, an Oracle, a TCS, a Wipro, an Axis Bank. It's called Get Visit. And in return, what we got was access to their network, which we were able to deploy to corporates that we were already supporting with their insurance requirements. So today, when we go up to a company, we are trying to explain to them that, look, if you look at healthcare expenses in India, only about 20-25% of them are actually, in hospitals. 75% of Indians' healthcare expenses are not in a hospital. They're at the lab, they're at the GP, they're at the medicine end, before you enter the hospital. Why are we not helping our employees out here? Why are we not making it easy for them to access Medicare over here so that, hey, they don't need to go to the hospital in the first place, their families feel more secure, and at the same time, our claim cost goes down, our burden goes down, and our costs are controlled. So getting more predictability to the cost on your health insurance or your life insurance or your personal accident policies in the market today, right? Very, very quickly, online consultations in 15 minutes, the entire process managed digitally, specialist consultations, fitness and yoga workouts online and on-site, mental wellness plans for your employees, mindfulness sessions that we set up. So just adding one more layer to this, right? So one is, okay, I have all of this. There's an employee app. They have all of this. But hey, how do we really drive engagement with you? So what we did about 6 months back is that we digitized our wellness calendar. We have a certain number of credits. Those credits can buy you a certain number of workshops or on-site or off-site for your employees. You select those. You select the months as the HR team or the comp and benefits team or the wellness team in your company. And we drive it end to end. Obviously, basis everything goes through you, but we drive it end to end. So you need to send an SMS, you need to send a WhatsApp, you need to design collateral, you need some tech customization required, you need, gifts or prizes, sorry, not gifts, prizes around certain competitions, a stepathon, a walkathon. We help you build that entire program out. We use digitization from the extent of managing it, but obviously there are people involved in it as well. Last point, what we end up doing on this front is we still know that employees at the end of the day, the eyeballs are being captured by or are being tried to be captured by every marketer in the country, right? And insurance is definitely not the most appealing person to be catching their eyeballs, especially when there's a 5% or 7% chance that they're actually going to use it in the entire year. So there is this entire element of gamification by building teams within your organization to compete with each other, by creating a strong rewards ecosystem, which is monetizable on an Amazon, which is monetizable on a decathlon, things that our employees use. So essentially incentivizing your employees to stay fit. Just wrapping up, didn't come here with much more in my mind, apart from to introduce ourselves as a new player in this space, to start explaining to you how we're thinking about this, and hopefully to interact with you outside and also learn from you how we should think about this. Where are we going right? Where are we going wrong? Thank you so much for your time, and hope to see you guys again.